Okay, so this is our second class focusing on the basics of Pilates and an introduction to Pilates if you've never done it before. In the first session, we focused on the rib cage and on how we breathe in Pilates, and we went through some of our basic exercises to use the breathing and move the upper body. And we looked at finding pelvic neutral and how to find it in different positions. Now we're going to focus more on engaging the deep abdominals. So one of the major principles of Pilates is being able to center and use your core to keep your spine nice and stable as you're working the rest of your body. So those deep muscles of your spine is what we're looking at today. And of course of your neck, which is part of your spine as well. So the deep muscles are the ones that wrap round like a corset. So they come from the spine, attached to the spine, wrap round, and give you this kind of girdle, this drawing in, okay, flattening and narrowing of the waist. And they work with the breathing muscles, which is the diaphragm that sits at the bottom of your ribs, and with the pelvic floor, which sits on the top of the, and inside the pelvis here. And they all work together, and they work really well with breathing. So we will try and connect to them, how to find the deep abdominals, and then how to breathe and connect to them as well. So we're going to be lying on our back because this is a really nice way to find those core muscles. Now this muscle is called your TVA, your transverse abdominis. So it wraps round, it's the deepest layer. And the best place to feel this is just inside your hip bones. So bend your knees up on your back, okay? And just remember that few little pelvic tilts that we did. Just find a little neutral pelvic position. Little gap through the low back, but ribs are gently down. Now, put your fingertips just inside the hip bones and just relax everything so the fingers just sink in. And so dig down a little bit. And then I want you to just breathe in and maybe feel a rise up in the fingers on the inhale. And as you breathe out, I want you to pull your belly button in and tighten the muscles. And you might feel this little tightening under the fingertips. And try that again. Just breathe in. As you breathe out, draw the belly button to your spine and feel this tightening in here. You should feel this little flicker going on and a little bit of tension inside the hip bones. And I want you to practice that a couple of times. So everything relaxes on the inhale. And as you exhale, blow out the air, let the ribs drop, and then belly button in, tighten that tummy. Good. Now, I want you to try to think about lifting the pelvic floor as well. So try this. Breathe in, feel everything relax. As you breathe out, start to lift the pelvic floor. So lifting, drawing up, and then draw the belly in. And you should again feel this tightening into the lower part of the tummy between the hip bones. Inhale, let it relax. Exhale, blow out, lift the pelvic floor, draw the tummy in. And this is what you can practice, trying to find those deep abdominals in any position. If you're struggling with engaging them, it can take time, it can take a bit of practice, okay? What we don't want is any doming out of the abdominals when we're doing our work in Pilates. So we always use the exhale to draw in with the belly button and keep nice and tight. And sometimes you might hear zipped up through the pelvic floor and into the waist. And at the same time, you should feel like a narrowing and flattening through the waist and the tummy. So just try that a couple of times. Breathe in. Breathe out. Tighten up, hold, and then release. Breathe in. Remember the ribs lifting on the inhale and good. Now I want you to add your pelvic tilts to this engagement of the TVA and the pelvic floor. So breathe in and gently arch the back and the ribs away from the floor. As you breathe out, blow out the air, lift the pelvic floor, imprint the back into the mat and draw the belly down. So we take this gap away, Don't squeeze your buttocks, we're just doing the pelvis. Breathe in, let everything relax. And breathe out. Draw down. Hold. And release. In and belly button to spine. Ribs down, no gap. Now hold this in. Hold that belly button down and bring your right leg off the floor to what we call tabletop. So just to here and then lower. Keep that back down, keep the tummy in. Breathe in to lift, don't release your tummy. Breathe out to lower. Let's keep doing this. No change through this tension. And down. Inhale. Exhale. If you want to check that the tummy is staying on and the hip bones aren't moving, just pop the hands on your hips. Feel the back stay down, but keep breathing. Breathe in. Breathe out. Still that little low level contraction. Good. Now try this. Bring your right leg to tabletop. Hold the back down and add the other leg. So that both legs are off the floor. The gap doesn't move. Then lower and release. Inhale. Exhale. Find that imprint. Tummy tight. Right leg. Stay down. Left leg. Nothing lifts off. Hold. And lower. Now if you struggle to keep your back down, it means your core isn't quite strong enough to work with both legs off the floor. And what you would do would be to continue with some single leg work, trying to hold the belly in and keep the pelvis really still. And we can progress our single leg work. So let's give you some options to work on. You hover the right foot, you slide the leg out. No movement through that back. Your pelvis is in neutral, but your tummy is really tight. Bring it back. And swap. No dipping or moving of the pelvis. Slide away and bring it back. You could practice this for 8 to 10 times. So moving the legs whilst maintaining. This is a great way to strengthen up into that engaged position. And then we can add some knee fallouts. So let's try this. Let's hold the tummy tight. I'm not really like tucking my pelvis. I'm just drawing the ribs down, pulling the belly button in. Let your right knee go out to the side and then bring it back. Now let me show you from a slightly different angle. The pelvis stays still, tummy tight. I let my knee go out and in. Only go out as far as you can before the other knee starts to move. So this again is another basic exercise. Great if you're new to Pilates. Great if you've recently had a baby and the abdominals are not as strong as they were before, or you've got a diastasis. You don't want to be working with both feet off the floor in those instances, or you've got an injury. So keep it nice and low level. Practice these until they become better. Now we're going to just try one more advancement with both legs off. So if you are ready for this one, let's bring the right leg off to tabletop. Breathe. Now find the floor. Ribs down, tummy in. Add the left leg. You still need to be able to breathe though. This isn't a breath holding exercise. So we're going to slowly exhale to tap the floor. Inhale to return. You can make sure that your back isn't lifting if you want. Check with your hands. And in. And in. Good. 4 more. 4. You should feel your tummy working hard to stay in. 3. Keep it controlled. Controlled movement, remember? And release. 1 foot down at a time. And then just take a little break. You remember our bridge from our last session, our Pilates Basics 1? Have a review of that if you're not sure. Keep your feet and knees hip distance. Breathe in, everything is relaxed. Now draw the ribs down, imprint the back, tummy really sucked in, and start to engage the buttocks and peel the spine smoothly off the floor. So this is just a really nice spinal movement exercise. It opens up the hips, it works the back of the legs. Breathe in and then smoothly back down. So roll back down, vertebra by vertebra, and release. Let's do that again. Inhale. Weight nice and even through the feet. Tuck, belly in, squeeze the glutes, vertebra by vertebra. Now think about reaching your fingertips down the mat so your shoulder blades are nice and stable. Hold it there and lower. And then come back to neutral. So remember, neutral is with, there's just a slight curve here, but the back of the ribs are down. I'm still gently engaging my tummy to hold my pelvis nice and still. Now we're going to bring our arms up and we're going to reach the fingertips towards the ceiling and then draw your shoulder blades down. And I want you to think about your ribs and your shoulders. So shoulder blades, sink them down into the floor and then scissor your arms, alternating side to side. Now this might seem like a really simple exercise, but if you're really focusing on the ribs staying drawn down, actually at times if you're quite tight through your arms and the sides of your back, you might find that as your arms go over, you want to pop your ribs up. And I want you to keep those ribs down. In and out.